We're going to get into engagement marketing today, and we're going to share our screen. Here we go. So here we are. We are going to talk about engagement marketing. What is engagement marketing? Well, engagement marketing is just what it is, man. I mean, we're out there, we're doing stuff here, there, and everywhere. We're posting, we're sending out stuff, we're telling people, that we're doing listings, that we're doing sales. But are we really engaging with them, right? So what we really want to do is we want to be able to take the time and to actually go for it and go after these people to make sure that they know who we are and make sure that they're actually we're talking to them. So engagement marketing is basically all about, let's have a conversation. So we're having a conversation through our posts, through our comments, and we're also talking to them and responding to them. Let's face it. If you post something, right, and someone comments on it and they go, oh, that's such a great post. I love how you did this, this, and this. Or they tell you, no, I don't agree with that, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, that's it. You don't respond. It's like you're ignoring them, right? You've done enough to engage with people to get them to actually engage with you. So here, let me just give you a little example of what it looks like and what it sounds like when you don't respond to a comment. So imagine you go to Starbucks and you're sitting in a Starbucks, of course, when we can, and you sit down with a buddy and you have a cup of coffee and your friend says, hey man, I love that backpack you got where you keep your computer and stuff. That's really neat. And this is how you respond. Right, you don't. So that's exactly what it sounds like. Hey man, that looks like a great bag to carry your computer in and stuff. And you don't respond. It's like, well, you're there and you're ignoring them, and it's basically extremely rude, right? So what is engagement marketing? It's creating meaningful interactions based on who the engaged person is and what they do over time, right? What does that mean? Well, basically what it means is that who are the people you're engaging with, and how have they engaged with you in the past? Have they ever engaged with you? And how do you get them to engage with you? Now, there are all different types of interactions you have with people on social media that will get them to engage with you in one way or the other. Look, the ultimate desire for you, the ultimate want for you is to not only bring them to the DM, but to take them from the feed to engagement, to comment, to the DM, to a phone call, to an interaction face-to-face, hopefully for an appointment, buy a house, sell a house, whatever it is. You want to bring them into your space. You want to bring them in because your post and the comments, you want them to feel at home with you. It's a way of building rapport, and it's also engaging, right? It's marketing that's going to allow the customer to know who you are, and when they're ready to reach out, they're going to be able to engage with you. Now, they might not be ready for anything right now, but they still might engage with you if you are putting up engaging information, engaging posts, or stuff that interests them. Let's face it, as a real estate agent, you're three things. A real estate professional, you're three things. Excuse me. You're a real estate agent, you're a technologist, and a constant creator of relevant content, right? So when you look at the principles of awareness, and they are unaware, aware of a desire, and aware of a desire, and you getting them to achieve that desire. So it's unaware, aware, and aware of you, right? And that. So basically, you're posting for people that are seeing your timeline, and how to increase that and beat the algorithm there is one thing. It's something completely different, but meaningful and necessary to what we're talking about to build them. So to build your engagement, to build who's going to see your stuff. A lot of people say, well, I post stuff, but nobody ever interacts with me. I get that, but there's a way to get people to interact with you. Now, if you've got, just a few hundred friends on Facebook, and let's just use Facebook as an example, you're not going to get, or you don't have the opportunity to get that much engagement because you don't have a lot of people, and only a few people are seeing your posting. They're seeing your content, right? So the more you engage with those people you have, the better it is. Now, if you have 5,000 friends as compared to 500 friends, and you engage with everyone on a regular basis, yep, it's not that hard to engage with everyone one-on-one on a regular basis. It really isn't. Reach out if you want to know how to do that. But anyway, you're going to make them more aware of you. And if they have a desire, and if they don't have a desire, and they think, wow, Dave's in real estate, he gives a really great argument for buying a house. Maybe I should look into this. And they look into it, and then more and more they're engaging with you, seeing your stuff, whether you know it or not. Look, you could have 300 views on a video you post and only one comment, one share, 13 likes. But 300 people still saw that video. So that's really important, right? So this is all about connecting with people as individuals. You want to impact their day. Let's face it, especially today. We need our lives impacted. We need something that's going to interest us. Look, those that don't go out that much, and those that are pretty much homebound because they have a fear, and I get that for it'll be there for a while. Is we want something to impact our lives, and that's why social media is so damned important for a lot of people, right? You still need your time away from the freaking screen one way or the other. Like for instance, at night, shut the screen off an hour before you want to go to sleep. I've been told that myself. But you want to impact their day. And if you can impact their day on a regular basis, you're going to be someone they're going to look for, right? You need to act as if everything they see from you and everything they see is going to see all the time. They're going to see you a lot, right? It's as if everything they see from you and everything they see is subliminally making them your raving fan, almost. And what I mean by that is they're going to see you not only on one channel, but they're going to see you on other channels as well. And then when you really have a marketing plan that includes, snail mail, phone calls, texting, it's going to have an even huger impact. Relevance. We just talked about relevance really quickly. Look, if you're relevant in the space where you are providing content, great. If you're not, well, guess what? No one's going to even notice you. No one's going to be aware of you. You need to speak to your audience as if you're speaking to your client, that one person. Who is your client? That's one thing you need to understand, your actual client avatar. So you're actually going to speak to that avatar individually as a whole. Okay, so that's kind of deep, right? So what I mean by that is it's pretty simple, is you're going to go after that one niche market, which is your client. Let's face it, you want to work with you. There's no question about it. If you wrote down an avatar of who your best client was that you had so much fun with working, it would be someone like you. Might not even be your best friend, but it would be someone like you. Sometimes we can't be friends with people that are just like us, but you'd want to work with them because you know they'd understand what you're talking about, right? And you want to make sure that you're going to be and go wherever they are. And that requires you to be not only omnipresent, but it also requires you to be omni-channeled. So we talked quickly about this a few minutes ago about every channel. Yeah, being good at one social channel is a great place to start. Look, I've said for my entire career that you need to be good in one place to start. You need to start with one. If you're just getting into your business and you're nowhere on social media, and someone said, well, you need to be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, I think I said that, Pinterest, you're going to quit the business, or you're going to say, screw this, I'll just buy leads from Zillow. God forbid you do that, because Zillow really doesn't care about you, and you know that. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're omni-channel, but start one place first. Today, the requirement of omni-channelization is so very important, but you want to make sure that your content while it is the same, is a little different. For instance, if you're going to do a Facebook post as a live broadcast, do it. And then go to stories or live on Instagram and post it there. But it's going to be a different video because you're going to do it at a different time or right after the other one. Like, for instance, look, if you look at GQ's Instagram as opposed to their Facebook, you're going to notice that it's basically the same stuff, but it doesn't look the same, right? They built a consistent, interesting platform on different platforms in different ways, but it's got a unified message. And that's exactly what you want to do. Look, the individual channels simply continue the conversation. So when we look at this, you look at that Facebook is going to be most of your clients, depending on age, are going to be mostly second-time buyers, but there's more going to be sellers there than on Instagram. Instagram is going to be more of the party. Facebook is going to be more of the social scene, right? Pinterest is sharing. Twitter is the news feed, and YouTube is you're going to do it there. You're just going to tell people what you're doing, and you're going to do how-tos, education, etc. The individual channels, as I said, continue the conversation. But not only channels, but it also goes to devices as well. Devices being the phone, the texting, everything, the device that you're using and how you use it. Whether you're sending out blast voicemails or sending out individual texts on a regular basis, that is where the devices come in. Time. The real engagement is going to happen quickly, but it's going to take time, right? So what I mean by that is once you start engaging with someone, it could actually mean that they've got a point, they've got time, they're ready. It could also mean that they're ready. Not knowing that for the 100% fact, but we also know that when people start engaging, you've either pissed them off or they really want to talk to you about something. So quickly would be catching the consumer at the right time, as I said. Slowly would be the consumer that doesn't have a need now, but they like what you're doing. And you know what? Maybe someday you might even get a referral from them and you won't even know it, right? It happens all the time. It happens with people you never connect, leads you never connect with. That's a blind referral. Catching the customer at their opportune time is crucial to having this as a pure engagement, as a client acquisition system of your very own media. You know, you're basically practicing the art of micro commitment to a very, very large audience, right? So when we go forward, we're also going to talk about in your posting and in your engagement marketing, you're going to have a call to action, right? So your call to action is either going to be a link, a comment about, book a consultation with me. The CTA is going to be also running tests as to the value of your content you're using. Should it not be, or should it not create a personal one-on-one engagement? Then the test says to tweak the content. Now, let's look at this sentence that I said, should it not be personal one-on-one engagement? Then the test says to tweak the content as you're testing your CTA and you're testing everything you're doing. You see, everything you're posting is a test. What I mean by that is you're going to make some posts that aren't going to get shit. You're not going to get anything on them. You think it's great, but it's not going to be that good. It's just like when a real estate agent decides that they're going to do this postcard, right? And they think it's the bomb. They think it's the best thing since sliced bread. The best thing is like they invented the postcard. They send it out and it sucks. Nothing happens to it, right? There's two reasons nothing's going to happen with a really bad content postcard. Number one is the agent looked at it themselves and did not think about asking someone outside the business, like a potential client looking at that card, to give them their impression on what it said. The other thing is they never followed up on it. You can have a really bad contented card, but if you follow up on it, it might have an impact, right? So what content? Well, having consistent content, have a consistent thought process and pieces of content is the biggest challenge for most, right? So one of the things I suggest you do is we talked about client avatar, right? But I want you to decide on who your point is or what your point is. And what I mean by that is avatar is one thing, what type of person is another, where you're going to focus that. Now, there are some people that will focus on a community type, right? Maybe the community type is, a 5-town area, a county. Like in the state of New Jersey, there are counties all over the place. It could also be just in some states, they have huge subdivisions. So it could be a subdivision, right? So the great part about that is that you're going to target that area. You're going to look at that and go after it. You're going to decide, this is who I'm going after. This is what I'm going to do. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of your content needs to be targeted that way, right? So if you've got your personal feed, your personal page, you've got a business page, this means that you also should have that niche as a group. So you can take your personal information, push them toward either your group or your business page. Your business page should, if you're going to have a running sphere through this niche, you're going to want to grow that in your group. Makes sense? I hope that makes sense, right? So, so getting your content together, when you decide on your niche geography and what your client avatar actually is, you want to think about some content that you're going to be able to use to that audience. The first thing you should do is get categories, how-tos, education. Always market information is always going to be important. And it's going to depend on your geography and niche, how that market content, type of market content, statistics that you'll use will be out there. So I always say between 30 and 40 pieces of content, you want to curate to get ready and build a true schedule and how that's going to look on each platform. Remember, we said it's going to look different. So let's just give you a quick idea of what I mean here, right? So what I mean here is, let's say you've got market statistics. And that could also be a postcard. It can be a post. It can be a video. It could be something quick on Instagram, stories, reels, TikTok, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of different ways you can present that content, which would include doing some of them the same day, which would preclude another day. So you might do 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of content in a day. And you're also going to do lifestyle content. What's lifestyle content? It's daily stuff. It might be a daily video. It might be something you see that you want to post. Just because you finished your content work for the day does not mean you can't post anything else. So you want to be consistent in quality, but also quantity consistent. Okay. So to be clear, in order of importance, in my humble opinion, it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Your podcast, do you have one? Do you want one? Do you think it's important for you to start one? Similar to what I'm doing here, being live using StreamYard as my application, this could be considered and used as a podcast, right? So it's also going to go on it can go on your website. It can be a blog. So what you could take with what I'm doing now is this could actually be downloaded as a script or as the content and curated and edited to be in an actual blog, right? Of course, then LinkedIn, which you could put the video there and you can put this there as well. Twitter is the news, short, but also a link to. Pinterest, the video is fine. Snapchat and TikTok, how do you want to use it? As well as Instagram stories, IGTV, and regular Instagram posts. Cutting this up into 60 seconds of speed pieces, right? You want to make sure that you take those pieces of content that you've curated. You want to make sure you put in a calendar as to what they're for and when they're going to be posted. You want to really build a 4-week calendar, a month, so to speak, but you always want to have that month in advance. So say you're in the middle of the month, you're going to have content already ready for the middle of the next month. 4 weeks in advance. See, so you're always building content and you're setting up, and best thing to do is to set up a couple of hours a week to get this done. It's going to take the stress off you. You're actually going to plan it. As time comes up, time goes through the week, you're actually going to have a side page or a side journal writing down your content that you think of during the week that you want to put in your plan for the following weeks. So you're also going to plan it for the following weeks, but you should also batch create on that day as well, right? The content, look, it doesn't have to be fancy. It should have text, images, memes for Instagram, and a lot of video, right? So if you're doing that, your content's going to work really fine. So let me sum up what we've talked about a little bit so far. Being everywhere your customer might be is without question the most important thing you're going to do as far as engagement marketing, right? You're going to be omni-channeled, which means you're going to be omnipresent. You need to be omnipresent in other places, but all of those channels. Being physically in front of them is less important than ever. While meeting them places and showing houses and doing listing presentations and being in front of them one way or the other is extremely important. Look, just like every investment or a lot of real estate investment, real estate customers and clients, you want to acquire and hold. You need a great client acquisition system. This is a piece of it. It's the art of differentiation. It's the pillars of business. It's being prepared, and it's also the world of virtuality, right? It's virtualness is how I call it. It's a strategy that may take a little time to get set up, but just like anything else, a strategy is a plan. You've got to do the work. So remember, we want to acquire and hold customers, acquire and hold clients, right? A lot of people will talk about their sphere of influence and how they do all their business or most of their business by referrals. And when I get into the question and answer part, when talking with agents that I'm considering working with, and they say they do most of their business by referral, when I really dig into that, I find that they've got some past customers that are really, really good for them that give them a few deals a year, right? And they're thinking, well, okay, that's good. I do business by referral. Sorry, you don't. When you set up an omnipresence and being omni-channel like we've talked about today, your business can grow omnidirectional and super, super huge. So my name is Dave Finale, Real Estate Skill Builder. I'd love the opportunity to help you with just getting this set up. Maybe it's, a question you have. Maybe it's, you're trying to set something up and you just can't get it to work. Go to talktodave.work and we'll set up a short 20, 30-minute conversation to help you with that just one issue. I promise you, I'm not going to sell you anything on that call. Promise. I promise that. But I promise one other thing. I promise if you go to talktodave.work and set up a time to talk, you're going to get information that you can use right away, use immediately. There's not going to be any of this, how's that feel? How do you feel about this? And all that. I'm not going to do that. What I want you to do is I want you to go to talktodave.work, set up a time for us to talk. I promise you, I will give you information to help you immediately build some part of your business or answer a question that you just don't have the answer to. I'm going to help you with the biggest problem you have, and it's frustration. I know that everything in your head is driving you crazy to a point. Frustration of wanting to do more than you can or have time for, or that you think you have time for. Remember, not only do we want to be omnipresent, omnichanneled, we want to be omni-thought processed and ex-frustrationist. Talktodave.work.